It's really hard to like believe that this is the world we live in. Trump, I don't even like talking about Trump. I think of Trump as such a huge distraction, and literally everything that happens fulfills that, like verifies and invalidates that thought. I just can't imagine. I want to think like, how does anybody still support this guy? But the guy I picture supporting Trump has on a America T-shirt that's too small and his belly's hanging out the bottom, and he's white. Obviously, he's white. Trump got the black people. The black people, they love him. No. No. Black people make up 13% of the United States population, and Trump got 13% of black people. If you buy that bullshit. Good morning, Karen. What's happening? It's just so strange. It's just, I just don't even know this whole Venezuela thing. Like, it's not even like it's being well done or anything. Even the media is going, hey, you already said all this same shit to us before. You said to us that Iraq wasn't about oil. This is not about oil. This is not about oil. This is not about oil. You said, all sorts of things that then just weren't true and were proven not true. And it it's literally the same rhetoric. And I would just be terrified. I would be terrified if I was those Venezuelan people. Trump's talking about we seized the tanker, the largest tanker ever seized. He even waited. He was like, we seized a large tanker. It was a large one. Probably the largest one ever seized. The thing where he fell asleep and then woke up like 12 billion, 12 billion. While also continuing to push this Sleepy Joe bullshit. I don't know. It's interesting when I was doing this prior to the election, this election, there were lots and lots of people who would come through here and talk pro-Trump bullshit. And those people, yeah, those people have completely disappeared. Good afternoon. Preparing to go relive my youth. Also off to Jeff Mills doing a 30-year anniversary in a 3-hour set. Techno. I don't know what that is, but it's crazy how that music is still so big over there. It's not at all here. Thank you. I don't know who Jeff Mills is. But you're basically gonna go take drugs and dance. Even on drugs, surrounded by people in a rave scenario, I'm still gonna feel stupid dancing. So I couldn't do it. Oh man. It's just so weird, man. It's all just so weird. Huh? What? That's a great idea. That's better. Phew. Does anybody like misunderstand what I'm saying when I say I'm not interested in people agreeing with me? That I'm much more interested in what you disagree with. Not because I'm just looking for a fight. I don't want people to fight with me. You know, you can have an intelligent disagreement. But do you guys like misunderstand what I'm saying when I say that, you know, I'm not looking for people to pat me on the back and agree with me? Because apparently not everybody understands what I mean by that. And they think, you know, you're just looking for a fight. I'm trying to get better. Top techno DJ, little light relief, going with Charlie's homies, his birthday this week. You're merely seeking intelligent discourse. That's what I figured. You know, that's sort of like, that's how I like. I don't have that insecure need for you to come in here and be like, I agree with everything you're saying. Here, let me pat you on the back. I don't need that. I want to get better, and the only way I can get better is if you point out what I'm getting wrong. You know, it's insulting to me that I would be wrong about something, and my people would just let that happen. You know, you just let me be wrong, and you know, it's like the booger on the face thing. That's how I figured. That's what I think being wrong is. You know, it's a booger on your face, and your friends, your family, your whoever is letting you walk around with this booger on your face. Whatever. And I just, you know, please tell me if I have the booger on my face. That's all I ever want to know. If I'm walking around here talking about something incorrectly or postulating incorrectly or whatever, by all means. Like I just don't get it. It doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal or a misunderstanding. But apparently, you know, some people think it is. Some people don't understand my point. And I want to make sure everybody understands that. You know, obviously it would be great, like, you know, it was, you know, this notion that, oh, how do you get any solutions done if nobody's allowed to agree with you? It's like, nobody's not allowed to agree with me. And lots of people do agree with me. Karen is one of those people. I don't sit here and scold Karen for agreeing with me, but she doesn't sit here and go, oh, I agree with you, guy. Oh, I agree with you, guy. Oh, I agree with you. That would be weird. And if anything, if Karen tells me, hey, Karen has told me I was wrong about shit. Karen has corrected me on shit. And I've become better for it. We still disagree on the Anno Domini thing. But that's just because they you know, they want us to. And Anno Domini pronunciation, I'm just saying. This is just weird. I find this whole thing strange. It shouldn't be so difficult to Try to figure shit out. Like, again, I don't understand. You know, I don't know. I'm very, very miserable in my current situation. Like, it's the big picture situation. It's miserable. It's miserable. Looking at so many people struggling, at so many people, you know, and still you have this obvious, like the Venezuela thing is an obvious distraction from Israel. You know, this Calibri thing where they're changing the font. We have to get rid of the font that was easier for people to read. How dare people want an easier font to read? You know, that makes sense. This woke font, it's a woke font. What? What do you mean a woke font? That's just stupid. You know, every time the news isn't talking about what's going on with Israel, where our money's being stolen, you know, given to, and who's doing it, and all this other shit, it's distraction. Like, it's weird because I get the idea that we need news, like, and that other shit's happening, and other shit is important. But, like, priorities-wise, I don't know anything that's more important than stopping the genocide. And because it's all run by friars, it's all friar this, that, and the other. It shows you, like, again, yeah, it comes back to everything else. If I'm wrong, why is it so difficult? If Judaism is a good thing, then us talking about it shouldn't be a problem. But it is. And it's strange because I believe, are you sick, little mama? You look sick. You sneezing and stuff. I just, you know, it's so weird to me to not be able to find the fight. I've been saying that forever. I can't find the argument. I can't find the debate. I can't find that discourse, right? You know, shouldn't Trump supporters be loud and proud? Shouldn't Jews be loud and proud? Even Christians to an extent. I mean, Christians are, in certain circumstances, like when there's a lot of them, yo, about what? Just wait a minute. Close the door. Open it back up. You know, I get the occasional Christian that will come through. You know, and where's Matt? Matt should be here. My fault because I'm late today. But where are the simple, the good Christians out there? No problem finding on Fook and submarines. How funny. Fighting about submarines? Well, but that's only partially true, because most of the time I just ignore the submarine talks. But when I do engage it, as soon as I start actually debunking submarines, which I do believe I do well, they just disappear. They don't even, they'll push it. Talk about submarines, and then I finally do, and they go, oh, well, either they disappear or they start talking about something different. It's the strangest thing, man. It's so strange to be... It's so strange to be this guy funding people who want to discuss. Finding, you mean? Are you drunk already? Have you already taken your gimmicks? My numbers are ridiculous. Hang on. Syria boot lot. Tried to share it. Trying to get more people involved. Trying to get people to come engage and tell me, like, it's such a strange thing. I do this shit with my wife all the time. Where I'm just like, again, whatever the issue may be, let's hammer it out. We have this one life. I mean, I'm halfway through life easily. Easily. There's no way I live to be 100 years old, even into my 90s. So I'm more than halfway done. And I just don't, it's been pretty bad. I think about just my entire life growing up and not fitting in and, not understanding how to fit in. But I have to, the only way I can really fit in is if I believe the same thing you believe. Belge. And it's just, I want to. I want to believe in Jesus really, really bad. But I can't. I don't know. It's so strange. Like, and honestly, I don't want to believe in Jesus because of anything that sort of comes with it. I mean, I guess heaven would be nice, but more so than anything, just to not be ostracized, to no longer be the bad guy. But it's strange too, because like my wife, again, always blames me for every one of the problems. But it's like when somebody is, especially if they know us and they know me and whatever, and they go out of their way to keep bringing up Jesus, or like deadpan, like looking at me and saying something Jesus related, and I'm like, it's just strange. It's strange because, like, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's government, whatever, it just ends up being a situation where I'm supposed to be quiet because I don't think like everybody else does. It's not like I come after people and start, you're fat and stupid and ugly and blah, blah. I never say anything along those lines. I just point out the things wrong with what you're saying, the stupidity in what you're saying. And you know that that's what it is because people always get mad. If I wasn't saying truth, what would you get mad about? it's just such a weird shit. And it's isolated me. You know, even within my own home, it's isolated me. Because my wife and I are on completely different pages on a lot of things. At least, I don't know, like, I know my wife agrees with me and actually sounds like me whenever she's talking to other people. But as soon as she starts talking to me, a lot of it has to do with the dysfunctional, mommy daddy bullshit. But it's like, something about me makes people want to argue. Something about my confidence, something about my presentation. And it's like, I'm not supposed to be confident. You come across as thinking you know everything. Well, I'm smart. What can I say? I'm fucking smart. Chances are I know more about this thing than you do. That's not an insult. That's not shit talking. That's just, like if I was a guy who spent all day, every day building Legos, if I sat here and said, look, I'm the best Lego builder I know, is anybody going to get mad at me for it? Would you assume you could just build more than me, better than me because, well, I played with Legos like 30 years ago, dude. And I'm like, yeah, but I literally, I build stuff every day and take it apart and rebuild and take, I'm constantly doing something. You guys watch me. I set up my shit. And you guys watch me every day. And you're like, nope, you can't say that. You're being rude. I don't know. It's confusing, man. It's confusing. I would never, like, if I found somebody that actually made sense from a religious standpoint, the last thing I'm going to do is block them. The last thing I'm going to do is get mad at them. I'm going to be like, holy shit, you're actually making sense. Let me try to get more out of you. And like, again, I just don't understand the way things work, I guess. I don't know. I just don't get you guys. All you people out there that you believe in anything. Like, I just don't, at this point, I have a real hard time believing in any of it. And so much of it has to do with lies and, history. Like, when it comes to Trump, I don't even know anything to be like, well, he does do this. Well, he does do that. There is this, there is that. What? And I guess I have such a hard time focusing on Trump because Trump's nothing. He's an actor. He's a figurehead. He's told literally everything to say. And when he's not being told what to say, you see the real person. He's a motherfucker. Dude hates powerful women. You know what I was noticing today? that famous birthday card. That's a girl in that birthday card. That's not a woman. Those don't look like fucking titties. Those are like, they're just little tiny, they're high up, and they're little tiny, it's a teenage girl. It's a that's why the Trump signature is such a little tiny. I think that the crazy part is most of us just don't realize just like how actually bad it is. Most of you don't know anything about the E. Jean Carroll thing. E. Jean Carroll, sorry. And I'd like to think that if people knew about it, they would be like, holy shit, and change their mind. But, I think there are a lot of dudes out there that have questionable stories in their history that they would want someone to overlook. So when it comes to Trump, they're more than willing to overlook the same things. Although the E. Jean Carroll thing is just like here. Let's just look it up real quick. E. Jean Carroll. Okay, so this is how you know something fucked up is going on. E. Jean Carroll, Elizabeth Jean Carroll, was born December 12th, 1943, is an American journalist, author, and a Vice columnist. Her Ask E. Jean column appeared in Elle magazine from 93 to 2019, becoming one of the longest-running advice columns in American publishing. She was born in Detroit, Michigan. That's weird. I didn't know that. Was born December 12th, Detroit, Michigan. Her father, Thomas F. Carroll, was a furniture store manager, and her mother, Betty McKinney Carroll, was a Republican politician in Allen County, Indiana. The oldest of 4 children, Carroll was raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana, with 2 sisters and a brother. As a child, she was called Betty Jean, Jeannie and Betty. That makes sense. Elizabeth is Betty. I didn't know that. But I guess, especially if you say it like Macho Man, Elizabeth. Me and Elizabeth. She attended Indiana University, a Phi Beta Phi, a Pi Beta Phi, and a cheerleader. She was crowned Miss Indiana University in 1963 and in 64. As a representative of the university, she won the Miss Cheerleader USA title. She appeared on To Tell the Truth in 1964. So, clearly, this broad doesn't have, like, she has no need for anything. She is, let's see. She is clearly someone that, that commanded the room and was considered beautiful. Jesus, I guess. I think the 2 girls around her are much better looking than she is. She has a weird sort of pointy face. And mistook his rape accuser for his second wife. What? This is a Vanity Fair column from January 19th, 2023 by Bess Levin. Donald Trump mistook his rape accuser for his second ex-wife during deeply creepy deposition. He also doubled down on the claim that he didn't rape his accuser, because she's not his type. He didn't rape her because she's not his type. What? Donald Trump has said and done a lot of deeply fucked up stuff in his life, and while it would be difficult to rank and categorize it all, it's pretty clear that his response to being accused of rape by writer E. Jean Carroll would be near the very top of the list. If you've buried that remark, along with most of the things that happened between 2016 and 2021, in the deepest recesses of your brain, that's obviously understandable. As a reminder, though, when asked about the allegation Carroll had made, Trump told The Hill that she was totally lying, probably the biggest liar in the world. And she was not my type, he said. In other words, Trump supposedly didn't find Carroll attractive enough to violently assault her. He said this in the Oval Office and then subsequently had his Justice Department argue that he could not be sued personally for defamation over it because he was acting in his own official capacity as President of the United States at the time. Unfortunately for Trump, the Justice system disagreed, and last October, he was finally deposed by Carroll's legal team. A transcript of that deposition was newly unsealed, and in addition to a lot of completely unsurprising moments, calling the allegations a hoax, mentions of the Russia investigation, etc., one moment stuck out as extremely surprising. Specifically, when he was shown a photo of Carroll and thought it was his second wife, Marla Maples. Wow, heard homeboy is sick, got that nasty scar that won't heal on his hand. I don't know. I hope he dies. I hope whatever, but like even me talking about this now, the only reason I'm talking about this is because of the E. Jean Carroll aspect. Everything about him is a carefully crafted distraction. Shown a black and white photo of Carol, his first wife, Ivana, and Carol's spouse at the time, which circulated after Trump claimed he'd never even met Carol. The ex-president pointed to the writer and said, "It's Marla," referring to his second wife. "You're saying Marla is in the photo?" Carol's attorney, Roberta Kaplan, asked. "That's Marla. Yeah, that's my wife." Trump responded according to the transcript. In addition to the woman in question very much not being Marla Maples, at the time of the photo, he was married to Ivana and wouldn't go on to wed Maples for several years. Apparently, wanting this weird, potentially damaging scene to not play out any further, Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, interjected saying, "No, that's Carol." Beyond the obvious question, like, does the former president and current presidential candidate have dementia? The Washington Post notes the incident may have, quote, potentially undermined Trump's oft-repeated defense that Carol was and is not his type, given that he cheated on his first wife with Maples and later married her. I mean, come on. The thing that's so fucked up about it is if this was you and you were being... What?
You gotta stop these two.
Why?
Somebody's gonna get hurt. Nick's being rough.
Yeah, stop it. Okay. Nick? Nick! Okay, now you're done. I'm literally telling you to stop, and you're telling me to shush, and that you're gonna do it anyway. No. I just told you to stop. You went and did it anyway, right?
I wanted him to turn to me.
Did you just do that?
Yes, but I wanted
Okay, so I don't want to hear anymore. Finish your stuff, and then you can just chill. You're not doing anything.
Why? I'll stop.
Yeah, I know you will after you got in trouble. Now you just got yourself in trouble. Good job.
I said he grabbed me.
Okay, yeah, no, you didn't need to keep talking.
I'm telling you.
You didn't need to keep talking.
I won't do anything else.
Yeah, I know you won't, but you're done for a while. The fact that mom has to get me to come downstairs because you guys won't listen to her to begin with. Huh?
Because you got, I didn't do anything.
Dude, don't give me this shit. Yes, you did.
Look at he grabbed.
Right. You weren't just laying there. You weren't participating at all. And then you didn't just get up and be like, nah, right?
I mean, I did do that.
Okay, well, that's all it takes. You, get your shit done. 5 pages. You, 3 pages. Go ahead. Because I said so.
You gotta switch your clothes too, Nick.
Look how mean I am. Elsewhere in a deposition, Trump falsely claimed that Carol had said in a 2019 interview with Anderson Cooper that rape was sexy and that she enjoyed being assaulted. Trump falsely claimed that Carol had said in a 2019 with Anderson Cooper that rape was sexy and that she enjoyed being assaulted?
No, she didn't.
No, of course she didn't. But what's shocking is that this man has gotten away with this. Like, this is easily, I know in the long list of things he said and done, this is easily one of the most disgusting things he's ever said.
Who said that?
Trump, about the E. Jean Carroll, the woman that he was convicted of sexually assaulting, and it would be considered rape. They just couldn't prove rape. You'll hear why in a second. You'll hear more of it. You said loosers, Loosers, and I appreciate you giving me the good words, but. In the interview, Carroll told CNN host she preferred not to use the term rape because some people think rape is sexy. She added, I didn't think of it as rape. I thought of it as a violent incident. I thought of it as a fight, and I tell you how stupid. I thought I won because I got out. He also called Carroll a nut job and continued to insist that her allegations are a hoax. Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine you get, you got to go to court for some reason. You get, you're in trouble for something on that official level. And your whole defense is, it's just a lie. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. I wasn't speeding. It's a hoax. Yeah, the officer, yeah, he's part of a group that's against me. It's a hoax. He calibrated his. I don't know. But however, even his radar gun is part of the hoax. Do you honestly think that would be a decent defense? Do you think any judge in the world would even allow you to use that defense and not hold you in contempt of court? I mean, he's such just a disgusting human being. And the way that he attacks female reporters. And then you look at his fucking wife. And she's a goddamn robot. Again, it's like, it's so hard for me to get involved in these kind of conversations. Because I don't, I think Melania is the actual power behind the throne. I think she's the Israeli operative. I think she's the high-level Israeli operative, which is why after all this time, her accent almost seems to be getting worse. How does somebody so entrenched in American politics not, their accent doesn't leave even a little bit? There was also this exchange, which occurred after Carroll's attorney had noted that the book written by former White House staffer Stephanie Grisham, which contained details about his response to Carroll, was printed by a radical left-leaning publisher. Do you know who the publisher was? Said Carroll's attorney. Trump. No, I just heard it was a publisher that did some very bad books on us. Us who? I'll represent to you her publisher was HarperCollins. Yeah, and they haven't been great. Do you know who published your son-in-law Jared Kushner's book? Trump. Could be, but they published some very bad ones too. I mean, again, I almost feel bad for laughing because it's such an important shit, and we're talking about a fucking rape trial. Rape accusations. So for it to be funny is just insulting, but he's just so dumb. He literally has like 5 responses to things, and he just cycles through them. It's a lie, it's a hoax, it's the Democrats trying to get me, I didn't do it. Incidentally, Ivana Trump reportedly said in sworn testimony during her 1990 divorce deposition that Trump had raped her the prior year after ripping out handfuls of her hair because he was upset about a scalp reduction surgery he'd undergone to get rid of a bald spot. She later claimed she had not accused him in a literal or criminal sense. She just sort of said it. I mean, that's fucking... Do you know how many rape allegations I have against me?
12? 13?
None.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, none. Now, granted, I know I'm not a rich and powerful man, but when your victims are already rich and powerful themselves, what would be their point in falsely accusing you? They're not trying to gain anything out of it. And if you know anything about rape victims, they're not like...
It's such a horrific thing, you wouldn't falsely accuse anybody of it.
No, there are people that do, but for the most part, they don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to, even if it means getting somebody in trouble, they don't want to relive the shit. They don't want to...
that, but reliving it is traumatizing all over again, but even more so, as you're retelling what happened, you know that people are scrutinizing your every action in that story.
They should be, though.
And it's bullshit.
No, they should be. They should be. Because of the way... No, they should. These are very serious accusations. And there are lots and lots of females out there that are crazy like that. If there weren't so many crazy females out there using it, frivolously, then yeah, that would be one thing. But it's just like anything else. Like
somebody that actually went through it then.
It's just like anything else. It's like if you are on the right side of things, you should expect, almost be disappointed if people don't scrutinize you. I expect to be scrutinized over everything I have to say. And whenever, like I use this all the time, but when I ask my wife to talk to me about her beliefs when it comes to pagan rocks, star charts, all this other stuff, her response is no, because all you're going to do is pick it apart anyway. And it's like that, but that's how I have to look at something in order to be able to believe it. I have to pick it apart and have my questions answered. I can't just believe something because somebody said it. I've learned my lesson way too many times with that. So, unfortunately, if you're in a situation like that, and it's not something that is obvious, you're not all bloody and ripped up just coming out of their room or something. When it's something especially that happened in some sort of previous situation, you have to be expecting people not to believe you. Why should they believe you?
Because a normal person wouldn't lie about something.
Okay, but we're not talking about normal people.
Well, that's when you have to consider the source. You can't just do that to everybody.
You can. You have to be able to scrutinize everyone because you don't know what people are capable of. I know that every single person I know lies. You included. When you feel the time is right, when you don't want somebody to know something, when you think you're doing them a favor or whatever it is, you will lie. Everybody is capable of lying. And if you watch YouTube and you watch like arrest videos of police, government officials, people that are always in a higher position, when they get arrested, 100% of the time, they don't act like we're supposed to act. They don't just give up, put their hands behind their back, and then tell the truth about everything. They lie. Everyone lies all the fucking time. Because they think they have to. My wife, she gets mad at me because I don't lie. Right? Because if somebody asks me a question, or somebody's talking about something, I have enough respect for you and for myself that I tell you the truth. Whether you might want to hear it or not, I don't give a shit. You shouldn't ask me. You know, if you're going to start a conversation with me about some Jesus stuff, I'm not just going to go, okay, that's great. Okay, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm going to talk to you like a fucking human being, a normal person. And, you know, just like if you were trying to share a recipe with me, I'm going to ask you questions about it. I mean, where do we draw that line? Where do you say it's okay to ask questions and scrutinize things unless somebody says this? Then you just have to believe them. If, of course, they look the right way or they have a past that is, you know, this is what Israel always says. Israel always says, Netanyahu always says, the things that I've done in the past should absolve me of being questioned now. Even Ken O'Keefe said that. When Ken O'Keefe disappeared and he was supposed to be the voice of the new generation and the world citizen and all that. Literally, I asked him, like, you know, what is going on? Why aren't you, you know, engaging with your audience and telling people what's up? And his response was, or at least the people representing him's response was, what I've done in the past should absolve me of being questioned now. Just trust me. And you'll never, ever, ever hear me ask that of you. That's the thing is I don't preach something that I don't expect in return. I don't ever think I'm just going to tell you something like you know, again with my wife. You would think at this point I have earned the position to where if I say, "Hey, did you know Israel does this, that, or the other?" She would say, "Well, that might not, you know, I might not know that, but because you're saying it and I trust that you have done your knowledge, your research, and I believe you." I know that if I tell my wife something outrageous like the Secure Community Network, that I better be able to back that up. She's not going to just believe me. It's outrageous. It's far-fetched. It doesn't go with the narrative we're told, you know, as the way things work. I usually get in trouble for being truthful. Of course. You know why you get in trouble for being truthful? Because most people are liars. They are liars. You should see the way my wife talks to her sister. You know, she talks to her in this really like kid gloves kind of way where she says, you know, she might touch on the issue, but doesn't flat out be like, no, stop it right now. You are being a moron. You literally, I'm not saying you are a moron. I'm saying you're being one right now.
That closes ears.
Well, again, because people are fucking, because that's how we've been programmed. If you close your ears because somebody said something you didn't like, that's what I'm talking about. What kind of arrogance do you have to think that you have to like everything somebody says? Well, I don't like the tone you used. I don't like the words that you chose to use. Well, can you disagree with what I'm actually saying, or are you just sort of focusing on secondary superficial shit to try to avoid the actual meat and potatoes of what I'm talking about? And that's what you'll find more often than not.
Well, you are definitely victimizing that rape person.
How?
All over again.
How?
Them sharing what
Okay, so again, so you're saying that anybody that claims rape, everybody should just believe it.
No.
Well, there you go. There's scrutiny involved. Like I said, you know, I don't think anybody on here, if I say, like, and I said this earlier, if I say, I don't want people to just agree with me, I want to know what I'm getting wrong. I don't think people go, oh, you just want to fight. You just want to fight. That's all you want to do is fight. There's one, two, actually the only 3 people commenting on here right now are people who agree with me on a lot of stuff. And they're sort of, but they're not sitting here going, I agree with you, guy. I agree with you, guy. I agree with you, guy. I agree with most of the things you have to say. That's one of my favorites. I agree with most of the things you have to say. Okay, well, tell me about that thing that you don't. Which part am I getting wrong? That's not me being some asshole. My wife insists that that's me being an asshole by me wanting to to get to the bottom of things and figure things out and ask questions and know what I'm wrong about, for you to make a claim and for me to say, elaborate on that claim, is me being an asshole. And I don't know, I just don't get it. It would be one thing if doing it the other way just worked out and everybody was just happy. Then you couldn't say, oh, you're wrong. But until you can tell me exactly how willing to be wrong and wanting to know what I'm wrong about is the negative, I'm going to keep going with that. And you see this, like, it's in so many different, I can tell you that so much of the way that the world works that's fucked up, the big picture, the same shit happens in my house between my wife and I on a much smaller, more personal level, but it's the same sort of weird, dysfunctional bullshit. You know, it's again, like I don't think I'm right 100% of the time, for sure, right? I'm sure there are times when I get things wrong or whatever, you know, I might be mistaken or whatever it may be. But if you tell me I'm wrong 100% of the time, I can't differentiate between which things are actually wrong and which things are just your bullshit. And we see this everywhere you look. Where, you know, because we live in this weird world where we're not supposed to ask questions, we're not supposed to scrutinize, we're just supposed to follow, it creates this really weird, unsettling narrative where nobody can be truthful with each other. I mean, if you think about it, the vast majority of the people believe in, well, I mean, like, because you believe in God and the space program. And that just in itself is a huge contradiction. But because you're so arrogant and you want to believe what you believe, you can't even have the simple discussion about it. And this is how it is, you know, in so many different situations. You can just replace, you know, the subject with something else and people look at it the same fucking way. All you women out there that complain about your man wanting more sex. He wants more sex with you. Right? It's with you. What are you upset about? I guarantee there's not a single man out there that would be like, man, my wife wants to have sex with me like at least once a week. What the fuck? You know? No, nobody does that. But a great way to tell what's legitimate and what's not, if you're one of these people that acts like sex isn't a big deal, it's not high on my priority list, it's not important. If that's the case, if it really isn't important, and you can switch this out with anything, then I should be able to go do it with somebody else, right? It's not important. It's not important enough to you to want to do it. So shouldn't I, you know, it's nothing. It's not a big deal. You don't care. So shouldn't I be able to go do it with other people? You know? If you're Jesus and all that shit it is so truthful and so real, why can't you talk about it? You know what I mean? It like just switch it out. Switch out the thing and ask these questions. If it's not that big a deal, like the whole Palestine situation, if it's not that big a deal, What if the Native Americans just decided that all the land that used to be theirs is now theirs again? And regardless of even, like, you can grab what you can carry, but you got to get the fuck out of your house. They're just going to come live in your house and use your shit and all that. Is that okay? That wouldn't be okay, right? That would be awful. So why is it okay if Israel does it? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it's your own personal bullshit or it's the bigger picture. We are plagued by the same insecurities, the inconsistencies, the ignorance, and the unwillingness to like fix it. Well, we could fix it. We could fix it. Especially at like on the little levels, on the base levels. We could fix a lot of the shit that's wrong. All we have to do is like work towards it. Yeah, we were one of my wife's friends. Her husband was a collector of fucking all sorts of shit. As crazy as
all kinds of random crazy shit.
As crazy as I notice how this is where she pops in, right? Doesn't have anything to say any other time. Whatever.
I was reading.
Sure. But her friend, he was a collector of video games and fucking little figures, Funko Pops, and just all kinds of shit. And he died. He suddenly died a year ago. And it was really, really like sudden, unexpected. He wasn't the healthiest guy in the world, but he wasn't some drug using, smoking, fucking drinking piece of shit either, And he was what, in his late 40s or 50, early 50s? 52. The thing is, he's at that age where at 52, yeah, it's sad, but it's not like, holy shit, that's so unbelievable, that's so hard to believe. At 52, man, people die. What COVID did a really good job of making people forget that people die all the time. For no fucking reason. People just keel over and die sometimes. You'd be talking like I am right now and go, and just fucking aneurysm and die. Shit happens all the time. You just don't hear about it. But so this guy dies, and he was he had a good job, and he made a lot of money, and him and his wife had some stuff going on, whatever. But his wife, she sold as much of it as she felt like dealing with, and eventually just got sick of it, and packaged a whole bunch of it and brought it over here and was like, here, you guys can throw it out or you can sell it. And I think it's such a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's how you help somebody. Sure, giving me a check would have been great. Giving me some flat cash would have been great. But providing me with an opportunity to work for it. Yes, there can be something good that comes out of this, but, gotta work for it. My bad. This was a really great thing, and this is something that I can then turn into a lesson for my kids. I can make them do it with me, and we can, there's so much that can come out of this. That there are tons of people that would be like, oh my God, I can't believe she dropped all her shit over here because she doesn't feel like dealing with it anymore.
Well, she was worried about that.
I know she was worried about that. I'm saying there are plenty of people out there that would complain about the situation being that.
Like I said, I don't want you to feel like I'm talking about my unwanted.
But that's what she is doing. And it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just, again, this is all because of the way that we have been programmed to see the world and choose to view it. You know? That she even thinks anything other than, holy shit, these guys are going to be so grateful for this. Because most people are so shit. Are so... Are just shitbags, and they whatever, you know, they would do, they would be that way. They would be ungrateful. And I just see this as one of the catalysts for me being kicked out of my family. I always argue about this with my wife. But like, my wife does it to me too. My family wants to see me as the bad guy. If you were to go back and ask my family, well, what did Guy do to get kicked out of the family? And, I'm sure you would expect to hear, he stole grandma's fucking prized jewelry and sold it. I don't even know, like, punched his uncle in the face, or like, you would. I personally can't imagine what somebody can do to get kicked out of a family, especially when one of my cousins is a straight up junkie who's literally died like 3-4 times, and they had to pull the needle out of his fucking arm. And you want to make me out to be the bad guy for what? Because I talked? Because and my wife will like take their side. Well, you were difficult. Well, you didn't just keep your mouth shut when you were supposed to. You're right. When I had an opinion about something, I talked about it. Was it in the middle of church or something? No. But in a family setting, when a discussion is being had, am I honestly supposed to curb my honest way of thinking to placate your bullshit? Especially if your shit's right. What do you care that I don't agree with it? Does that somehow affect your shit?
Because it's not appropriate at family gatherings to be combative. That's why.
Right. It's not appropriate to be combative at family gatherings. So again, when somebody brings up something that they know I'm not going to agree with,
shut up and walk away.
Right, that's how that works. You just shut up and walk away from family when they're talking to you about it. Yep. Because that's the way, like, again, you're making it sound like you're right. And I'm saying, as a family, we should be open and honest and respect each other and let anybody have an opinion and all that stuff. Why would I ever go to that side? There's nothing good about that. There's nothing right about that. There's not respect both ways. It's just cowardly bullshit. Yeah, well, you should. If I worried about everybody else's insecurities and dysfunctions, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Because somebody is always going to be insecure, dysfunctional, or upset about anything you say. And again, if you're the one that's right, what are you so insecure and dysfunctional about?
Well, in a thing like religion, you can't for sure say one person's right, one person's wrong, because nobody knows.
Yeah, I think we can. I mean, sure, as long as you're dealing in fantasy, you can always say nobody knows. But the fact is, you're claiming a not just we should get this topping on our pizza. You're claiming a foundational, fundamental, core principle of life for people. And if you're right, then what do you care that somebody questions it? You're right. you should encourage people to question it so they get the same understanding you have.
Well, there's methods of questioning things.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Again, so now I have to placate
you can be
your
nice
bullshit.
about it and not
You don't
venomous.
again, so this is where again my wife you just go for the jugular. And it's like,
in that situation I was not saying
okay,
you.
well, you playing devil's advocate in this thing where you're just coming up with random bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
It is, because you can't know what people are coming from. You can't say these vague statements and be like, well, there's ways to question it. If somebody is talking to you, if you're going to talk to somebody about something, why are you talking to them if you're not prepared for them to disagree with you?
What would your response to a statement like, well, if you took Jesus into your heart, he would help show you the way? What would your response to that be?
I would say, honestly, my life is so insignificant at this point. Why doesn't Jesus show Netanyahu the way? Bezalel Smotrich. Why doesn't Jesus, if Jesus can appear and show people shit and do all that stuff, why doesn't he ever appear to Trump and be like, hey, Trump, why don't you stop being such an asshole? I don't believe myself to be significant enough in the big picture that Jesus should even be wasting time on me with everything else that's going wrong. And a lot of what's going wrong in my life would be greatly and positively affected if Jesus did in fact approach those people in charge. So what proof do you have of Jesus, showing people the truth and the light? What are we even talking about? And see, that's not vicious.
It's combative.
Of course it is. I'm combating your statement. Why would you ask me that question if you weren't prepared for me to have an argument?
That was a statement.
You said, what would you say to somebody that told you that?
That made the statement, if you took Jesus into your heart.
Okay, that's a question. You know this, right? That's a question. So that's me answering. No, I don't agree with you. And if you can show me an example of of someone taking Jesus into their heart, and even though, things were still done the same way around them, because they have Jesus in their heart, they just got around it. You want to believe in fantasy and fairy tale for selfish purposes. But when we try to look at this as a bigger picture it's not about you. It's not about you and your salvation and your own personal gain. Let's think about the bigger picture and other people, especially all the children that are being victimized. You want me to pretend like you're more important than all that? I mean, I don't understand.
We're all God's children.
Well, obviously, if that was the case, then why is that would be like, I let a known pedo come stay in my house, and I'm like, listen, my oldest is off limits. That's all I'm gonna say.
Gross.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're basically saying. As the father, we're all God's children, and God's letting a large portion of his children literally starve to death and genocide another one of his children?
God works in mysterious ways. Those souls came here to learn a lesson, and the trials and tribulations they are going through are meant to teach them that particular lesson.
Based on what?
That's how God works.
How do you know that? As I've said many, many times, how can you prove without a shadow of a doubt that God isn't working through me? Because God hates everything that's been done in its name regarding religion. Hates the religions, just all three. Abrahamic religions, all three, hates them.
He wouldn't condone a division in the religions to begin with. Like, there wouldn't be three.
Right. would think. You would think as a reasonably thinking human being. So how do you, as that person that says what you're saying, go ahead, show me, prove it. Prove to me how God is not working through me. God finally found it's actually a lot more difficult than people think it is. And God finally found some sort of vessel he can work through. It can work through and effectively destroy all religions. Because, I'm not sitting here going, oh, those Muslims are so bad, but us Christians are good. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying, you got to believe in my thing. I'm saying there is no thing. And even if there was a thing, the last thing it would want us doing is thinking about it. All-knowing, all-powerful, omniscient, omnipotent, omni-everything God. And it's like, hey, you, did you thank me for your dinner? Huh? That's ridiculous. My family prefers lies. They think I read what he. But even the whole Operation Paperclip thing with my family. Nobody ever said, whatever you do, don't talk about any of this. As a matter of fact, it was something that was talked about, like I specifically took German in school and I went to school, like my bus stop would either drop me off at my house or my grandmother's house. Same bus. That's how close we were, less than 2 miles. And I would go to my grandparents' house all the time for tutoring and all that shit. And especially during the World War stuff, I would go there. We would talk about it. So it was never like, this is an off-limits conversation. We do not talk about this.
But he never brought up that part of things.
Of course nobody ever brought up Operation Paperclip. So by the time I stumble across it because of the fucking internet, and honestly, Operation Paperclip is not some secret. It's pretty well known, especially in conspiracy circles.
How long was prior to that?
What? Okay, cool. I'll check them in a bit. Thank you for doing them. Did you get them right this time?
What did you just say?
Operation Paperclip.
Yeah. Oh, I was asking how well known was it prior to. I asked that because I had absolutely no knowledge of it. But then again, I'm also somebody that hates history because I knew it was bullshit from the time I was a little kid. So I just never paid attention because it's all a bunch of fucking lies. So yeah, maybe they did touch on it in history class of some sort, and I just was in the gym in the wrestling room doing gymnastics instead because that's what my history teacher let me go do. Because I was so smart, he knew I would be getting an A in the class, but he also knew there was truth to me saying this is all bullshit. So he let me go work on my other shit. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to think that I would have at least heard of it prior to, but then again, you're not going to say, you can't talk about this to somebody that when you say that to them, that's exactly what they do. When you have the personality of don't push that button and they're going to push that button, that you don't tell that person, don't push that button. So I don't know, but.
Wish I knew what you were saying. So I could respond to it.
I was just saying that I don't know how well known it was before the internet. I had never heard of it.
There's
And again,
lots
I
of
never,
shit. Yeah, you don't know lots of stuff.
You want to hear what I said?
I'm just
which I was following up with.
okay.
That's not a great feat because I hated history and never paid attention. So I don't know if it was ever brought up in class because I was.
It wasn't brought up in class. And if it was brought up in class, it was brief. It's probably why in today's society they don't teach about it in school. The neighbors a couple houses down, maybe 10 years ago at this point, they were in history class at the school, and I was curious, and I asked them to bring home their history book one day just so I could see it. And I opened it up, and I went to look for the World War II Holocaust, month-long lesson plan bullshit. And it was literally this page, and then the obverse page of the second page. It was three pages. And granted, this was a Redford Union history book, so maybe it's different than a Northville history book. Hey, Nissus! Do you have your history book in your backpack?
What history book?
I don't know. Do you have a history book?
The history of hysteria? I have an algebra book.
Oh.
Ask him if he switched the clothes in the drive.
Did you switch the clothes? Do that now. That needs to happen before you finish your math. Please and thank you.
Part of what elongated ours, though, is we had to watch and then read the Diary of Anne Frank.
Yeah, no, of course.
So that it wasn't all just, we didn't have a huge section in our history book per se.
Right.
Because the teacher elongated it with other material.
Exactly, but they don't have that.
She didn't read that. She didn't see that movie.
Of course not. You know why? Because nowadays, if you look it up, you're going to find out it's fake. And it's been fake. It's been known for a long time that it was fake.
Oh, see, when I was in school, it still wasn't. It was real. And the teacher got mad at me. We had a substitute teacher. We were reading it. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit. This girl didn't do all this shit.
The blind, deaf, and dumb girl?
And she was so mad at me. How did she write this book?
Right.
Who dictated the book for her? Like, she was so mad at me.
But it's worse than you think it is, because actually I think even when we were in conspiracy theory primarily pushed by Holocaust deniers claiming her famous diary is fake, however, extensive forensic analysis, court rulings including one where Anne's father sued a denier. How is that even a thing?
For what? Slander?
How could you possibly sue me for me not believing what you have to say?
For your fucking fiction that you wrote.
Confirms with evidence. Okay. An historical consensus confirms its authenticity with evidence like handwriting analysis and document studies proving it was written by Anne herself. Claims often cite false evidence like the discredited ballpoint pen theory to undermine the Holocaust, but historians universally accept the diary as genuine. Gee, that's changed.
How did she write if she doesn't know what the letter A looks like?
Or sounds like? Or, puts together. I mean, we're talking about... Right. And she was supposedly young. So it's not like she went through all this special schooling and shit. How did her family... Let's give this a good look.
Hiding in an attic. She wrote a fucking novel. Really? No, she did not.
With all those supplies she had.
The paper. I was just going to say that. The paper and the pens. And how did she know she was writing in a straight line on the paper, not on the desk?
Well, because she could feel it.
After she got half the word done.
No, Anne Frank wrote her diary with a fountain pen and so she had a fountain pen available.
So she could see where she was dipping all the time? Sure And if there were drips on the paper that looked like dotting an I, but it was an L.
I would love to see it. Where is the actual...
We saw pictures of it during that time. And it was bullshit. It looks like an old lady's hand. It doesn't even look like a kid. You have any 12-year-old kid in this neighborhood write a whole paragraph. It's going to look like a 12-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah, this is...
Right. No, it's not old lady cursive.
This.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, this. She was so good at all. How did she know...
To stop at the crease.
Well, no, she could feel it. But how would she know where she stopped one word and started another one? And if she, like
was on the line below it and not on top of the
right,
first line.
Or all this shit here. How did she know how to put this in? She would have to line it all up. This is just
stupid.
It is. It's stupid.
And that was the exact argument I had with that. It was with Steel Tits, Mrs. Carmichael. She got so mad at me.
So not only did she write some of it in cursive, she wrote other parts in English. Well, in print.
Yeah, because she knew the difference between print and cursive. She could see what the difference.
She learned both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Her family taught her all of it.
By the age of 12. Fuck off.
This is. And you're just supposed to be like, okay.
Wow, she was amazing.
Okay, I believe it. Okay. Isn't it interesting how it's the same picture over and over? Nobody thought to take pictures of a different page in the book. Same pictures over and over again. Same pages over and over again.
Bullshit. She looked like a 30-year-old woman. She didn't look like a 12-year-old kid.
All right, Anne Frank. Look over here and smile for the picture. That's what a blind, deaf, and dumb girl looks like?
Yeah. No, their eyes are always going all over the place because they don't know their eyes aren't facing.
They're not controlling them. Right. Oh, here's some more pictures of her. How about we just say that she could see, hear, and all that shit? It's just fake. Look at that.
Right. No, it's all...
That doesn't look like a girl that's struggling.
Nope. And see, I, at that point had people in my family that couldn't see and shit. And
here she is.
Look like any of them.
Here she is, just sitting at a desk. Just do. So how does
all properly and
how does she know to look at the camera?
Right. Well, I guess she'd hear your voice. Look over here. Look towards my voice.
Yeah, but she wouldn't
know what
Her eyes would just be going all over the place.
Exactly.
You ever see Stevie Wonder without his fucking glasses on?
Our cousin Tula.
Here's yet another bunch of pictures.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Wow. I surprised I haven't done more of this, but
me too, actually. That was a big one that in our face one.
What a bunch of horse shit.
Oh yeah, total horse shit.
And how did she know how to, the subtle nuances of language and storytelling and all that? How did she know how to do that? What books had she read?
Was Braille a thing?
Yeah.
With her? It was already?
Braille had existed, I'm sure.
Did it? I don't know. I could understand learning Braille and learning to read. That is logical. But learning to write letters in a straight line, line after line after line.
1834. Well, she didn't write it in Braille.
No,
she wrote it in English. I know, but I'm saying she wrote it in English or in print and cursive.
And in two languages, didn't she?
No.
She didn't write it in German and English?
No, she wrote it in German. That would be ridiculous.
No,
Come on. Angela. She did not write it in English. She just wrote it all in both cursive and print and kept track of it all.
Them saying some excerpts were in English. I don't know why.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. Maybe. If that's the case, would you be surprised?
No, because it's all horseshit. She dated Christopher Columbus.
Did Anne Frank find it difficult to read her own text? Seriously.
How could she read her own text? She's blind.
This is supposedly her work. How? Seriously, you know what? Show me somebody else that's blind, deaf, and dumb that can do it, and I'll be like, all right,
She
it's
can't
possible.
hear you say, now draw the line up. Now draw the line down.
How does she hear?
See,
how does she know what's going on? And go sit in the corner. Like, how does she know that the footsteps were above her and they were told to keep quiet? And okay, and don't make any noises. Like, how do they know that? How would she even know if she was making noise?
Couldn't hear. It's just the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
It really is. This just goes with it, but this is what they do. This is their whole thing, is this level of, like, it's almost like a challenge.
And they used a little girl so that, like,
deep
down you have that. If you want to believe, you don't want to hurt the little girl by saying it's not true. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's